everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in on you. Moving around, running some errands, and I wanted to touch on something that kind of popped up today. I'm going to talk about a specific situation, but I'm going to talk about how that branches out into social culture and proper social influences within the Black collective, and what we need to do when we are considering whether something is acceptable or not in our culture. I think that one of the things we struggle with is understanding how other behaviors impact us, and it's pushed for us to live and let live thing. You know, it's not my business, you know, what another person does, and, you know, and all of that. And I want to talk about that from a little bit more of an in-depth position than just, hey man, this is how I feel about something. With me, it's not always about how I feel, because some ways I feel I have to realize, hey, this might not be best for our culture. This might not be best for us as a collective. I may need to put this on the back burner. I may need to crush this for now, or maybe permanently. It's probably good for me, but not good for all. And Dwayne Wade, an ongoing discussion. Dwayne Wade was in an interview where he basically said he is not the leader in the marriage. He doesn't take the lead. Now, depending on I don't want to get carried away with this, because it's going to be people say you're taking it out of context. I don't want the central focus to be on what he said. That I want to be the central focus to be on the conversation that followed. But anyway, the ultimate thing was, he says he's not the leader in the marriage. He didn't, from what little part I did pay attention to, because it's hard for me to do, honestly. What I did pay attention, he never said she was. He just said he wasn't. And then I think some of the context is in the fact that he can't make a woman do what, you know, anything she doesn't want to do. No man should. It's no man's job to make a woman do anything. That's not leadership, first and foremost. That's a part of the problem, is in the discussion. There's an idea that a man who is a leader is the boss in his home. No. A man who's a leader is the one out front making sure that everything in the home is taken care of. Not necessarily doing it himself, but making sure that the environment within the home is conducive to achieving the optimal results, based on the standards set for the home. As a couple, as a family, in finance and business and careers, in academics, in holistic education and everything, there has to be standards, there has to be goal, there has to be a demand. It's his responsibility to make sure that the vision is clear. He's the visionary. Doesn't mean that his wife doesn't have a vision. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he's the visionary for the family. That means he's not only responsible for his own personal vision, but he's responsible for the vision for the family. He's not only responsible for that, he's responsible for making sure that his wife can live out and fulfill her vision for her life. Now, all of this is things that we can get into and talk about another time. Now, what I want to talk about, not so much that the fact that there's all this stuff going on in Dwayne Wade's household, and, you know, there's this and there's that. There's the son who is a daughter, or not sure, whatever it is, and that they're actually promoting a 12-year-old, might be 13 by now, it's been going on so long, to basically identify at a time that they should be going through self-discovery and figuring things out on their own, not being necessarily pushed based off of an idea. And I'm not here to argue that point right now. People who know me know how I feel about it. I'm unapologetic about it. But at the same time, that's not even what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is this discussion popped up on several social media platforms, and one of the common themes in the discussion is, why is everybody worried about what he's doing in his life and in his home? And people worry about the wrong things. I think that's kind of the gist of what's going on. Everybody worried about the wrong thing. Why are you worried about what he's doing? Well, let me explain to you why we're worried about what he's doing. First and foremost, if you don't want your personal business discussed, you don't make your personal business public. So the idea that his personal business has become public says that he wants his personal business to have an impact and an influence. Because if he didn't, he would be working that out within his home between his wife and his children. The fact that it's public and it's constantly being put on Front Street means it has a purpose. Well, anybody who has studied propaganda understands the influence of the media. If it's put out there enough, it's supported enough, it becomes normalized, even in something that has been historically unacceptable becomes normalized and eventually is accepted. That's how we moved and got to this point over the last 40 to 45 years. So my thing is there a social responsibility as blacks to carry ourselves in such a way that it is pro-social for the collective and not self? And does it matter what someone does as an individual? Absolutely. What we have to realize at the very core, humans are mammals. What does that mean? Mammals are by nature social creature. Every mammal operates within a group collective, and the collective operates as a whole to achieve a primary and mutual result. Lions, elephants, whales, dolphins, on down the line, all mammals operate in a social environment where the social group operates by what's best for the whole. And there's a level of discipline, and you can literally be kicked out of the group or killed for not operating within the guidelines that's best for the herd, for the pride, for the pack, or whatever you want to, whatever that particular group is called. It's no different for humans. Humans have just been trained to be highly selfish, highly individualized, especially in groups that suffer and struggle. If you look at a group that suffers and struggles, I guarantee you one of the problems they have is individualism. They have been trained to think only of themselves, primarily out of a sense of selfishness, not born out of animosity towards anyone else, but out of fear for having little and nothing and lacking that they won't have if they don't learn how to get it for themselves and look out for themselves and nobody else. We're taught, worry about yourself, let everybody get their own. And so we don't think within the collective. So we don't hold one another accountable on a collective level. So here we are, and we're looking at this. So here's what I'm trying to get across to you. This isn't Rick's opinion. This isn't Rick's concept or philosophy. This is the natural order of life as far as mammals are concerned, and especially with humanity. That if you want to function highly as a collective, if you want to get power and things done, as an individual, you're going to have to function within a certain group or collective. You're going to have to find your collective. You're going to have to find your pride. You're going to have to find your tribe. You're going to have to find a group that you can operate in. And if you don't, it's going to be a long, tough haul, and you'll find yourself acquiescing to other groups in order to get by and get the things you want. You can still get what you want, but it's going to be a lot of character sacrifice, a lot of sacrifice in values, interests, and principles based off of the fact that you have no power set within your own collective because you're operating as an individual. Okay, that's out of the way. Well, the fact that it's being put out publicly, the fact that it's a conversation, says that there's some prevalence to it, that there's some relevance to it. The relevance is this. Propaganda tells me if I send the subliminal messages, I send direct messages, if I consistently put it before you and tell you that it's this, it will eventually become this. I can say red is blue enough until red will become blue if it is not interrupted with an alternative truth, if it's not put to the side. And so when someone comes out and he says, I'm not a leader, and it's being backed up by all these different things that are going on in his personal life, yes, we need to address that. Especially as men, we need to address that. Am I the head of my house? Yes. Am I the leader? Yes. Do I boss my wife? Anybody that knows that's not the case, but I am the leader. And when I have to do what I have to do to lead, I'm assertive only when necessary. I'm not there to boss you around. I'm not there to tell you what to do, but I am there to make sure you don't get into harm's way. I am there to make sure you get the most out of your life. I am there to make sure that you're safe. I am there to give you guidance in places and areas. If you're not able to lead and guide a woman, you don't belong in her life. This isn't about bossing her around. This isn't about telling her what to do. This is about providing her with things in and of herself she doesn't even know. Not only about life, but about herself, about other things. If you haven't developed yourself as a man in that level, that's a part of the problem. You being a man, you're not supposed to forcefully do anything. You're supposed to be able to insert yourself into situations and automatically create a better environment through which everyone in that environment, children, your wife, the situation, the community, your business, everybody should be operating better because you're in it, because you're bringing vision, because you're bringing a hope, you're bringing a new outcome. If you don't make their lives better by stepping into it, then you lost. And here's something else about the head. The head is never at the top. The head is always at the bottom. What do you mean? The head is the foundation of everything that happens. So the foundation is poured first, and then from that, everything is built up off of it. I'm not first in my home, I'm last. And I'm not talking about in the sense of priority and importance. I'm talking about, I think about what I need last. I'm never going to let myself not get what I need, but I'm not going to sit up and be selfish. See, if I start thinking about what I need first, then I start lacking in areas of importance and influence in my home. So what do? I think about what everyone else needs. And then I look at myself and say, how do you make that happen? What do you need to make sure you're optimally prepared to deliver? I read a post this morning that says that nothing makes a man feel good than makes a man feel better than knowing that his woman believes in him, or hearing his woman say, I believe in you. And that is powerful. One of the gifts that a woman has is the affirmation or affirming of her man. She can do it verbally, but she also does it every time she gives herself to him. Every time she surrenders her body to him, she's saying, I believe in you. You are the man. That's why when you start talking about casual sex, you start talking about the diminishment of the soul. Why? Because there are some soul dynamics taking place in sexual intercourse. There's some soul dynamics taking place in intellectual and emotional intercourse. So when you talk about that part of it, yeah, I need to hear my woman say, I believe in you. Not that if she doesn't say it, I'm not who I am, but that's just a natural built-in mechanism within the soul and the mind and the psyche that responds to it. But here's the flip side to it. At some point, you got to deliver. At some point, you got to take what she believes in and return it to her with the results. So when I look at what's going on, I'm not trying to interpret exactly what Dwayne Wade meant. Whatever he meant. What I'm talking about, more importantly, is the conversation that came out of it, where it's his business. On a personal level, you can say that. But if you're talking about on a collective level, if you're talking about doing something exceptional, as a race, not all this. See, that's why we have so much emphasis and gravity given to celebrities. Why? Because we're living our lives vicariously through them. Why? Because most of us haven't experienced success. Most of us haven't experienced success as it is defined in our social culture. We have not experienced success. We have not experienced power. That's why we live our lives vicariously. That's why we go to great lengths to give them passes on their BS. Why? Because that's who we're living through. What we've got to learn how is to build our own foundation of power so that we are executing as men. Yes, I need to hear, I believe in you, but at some point I've got to execute. And so that's the whole thing. We could talk about it all day, what leadership means and all that. You know, leadership is not about being bossy. Leadership is not about being in control. Leadership is not by saying I'm more important than she is, because I'm not. Her value to our home is immeasurable. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, my role is to be a protector, a provider, a leader, the head, the covering. My role is to make sure everything that's supposed to flow in that house is the way it needs to be so that it does flow. Does that mean I need to solicit the participation of everyone in the house? Absolutely. But it's my job to do it. They want to confuse roles so much that nobody knows what they're supposed to be doing. You know what happens when nobody knows what they're supposed to be doing? Everybody blames everybody else when it's not done. And so that's where we're at. That's what's happening. That's what's going on. I just had to tap in on that. I had to talk about it. I hope that I've hit a point. I hope I've made, I've been brought a certain level of elucidation to what it is that's out there, that's floating around. And, you know, maybe it catches. But we've got a lot of work to do. I can tell you that. Also, don't forget to support the work we do at the Odyssey Project. I love you guys that have been supporting us in the work we've been putting in, but there's so much more work to do. We've got a long way to go. We've got a long way to go. Black Men Lead, Rite of Passage initiative. We got to pro-socialize. We got to properly socialize our young black males into black manhood. We've got to help our young daughters heal and become strong women with a great deal of awareness about who they are. That's our responsibility, and it's up to us to get it done. So show some love, show some support. On that note, I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day.